Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamunatiro Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Sri Sri Radha Madhava ki jai, Sri Radha Giridhari ki jai. Jai Om Viṣṇupāda Paramhamsa Parivrājaka Jaya śūdras Srimad Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Viṣṇupāda Paramhamsa Parivrājaka Jaya śūdras Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. ISKCON Foundercharya, BBT Foundercharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Samvira Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Sri Ekadasi Bharata ki jai. Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, Sisi Guru and Sri Gauranga. Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Gauravani Vajradhani Viṣṇu Shunyavadi Vasyajadi. It's Bhakti Sal. If you keep doing this in Bhagavatam class, they'll no longer say the Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of the Vedic literature, they'll say it's the ripened vegetable. Right? Like that. There we go. If anyone's having trouble staying awake, this is a great engagement. Right? Okay. A little something to stay awake. Okay. They say every book of wisdom, you have two things to learn, what to do and what not to do. So now we're really getting into some deep stuff about what not to do. You highlight, demons are getting highlighted now in the 7th canto, big time. So it's important too.
He's going to do some nice preaching in this chapter.
Yes. Yep. But it's kind of like, that's important, what not to do. What to do, what not to do. Both have to be understood. So we're reading from 7th canto, 2nd chapter, Hiranyakashipu, king of the demons. That's what his son used to call him. Best of the demons. Didn't even call him dad. He called him dad after he was killed. You know that? The first time he referred to him as his father was after he was killed. Otherwise, it was a Suryavarya. Oh, best of the demons. He probably liked being called the best of the demons. My own son calls me the best of the demons. Right? Anyways. Text 11. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Viṣṇur Dvija Kriya Mulao Yajño Dharmamaya Puman Devarshi Pitri Bhutanam Dharmasya Cha Parayanam Viṣṇu Dvija Kriya Mulo Yajña Dharma Maya Puman Devarshi Pitri Bhutanam Dharmasya Cha Parayanam Viṣṇu Dvija Kriya Mulo Yajña Dharma Maya Puman Devarshi Pitri Bhutanam Dharmasya Cha Parayanam Viṣṇu Dvija Kriya Mulo Yajña Dharma Maya Puman Devarshi Pitri Bhutanam Dharmasya Cha Parayanam. Anyone like to chant?
Viṣṇu Dvija Kriya Mulo Yajña Dharma Maya Puman Devarshi Pitri Bhutanam Dharmasya Cha Parayanam
Viṣṇu Dvija Kriya Mulo
Viṣṇu Dvija Kriya Mulo
Yajña Dharma Maya Puman
Yajña Dharma Maya Puman
Devarshi Pitri Bhutanam
Devarshi Pitri Bhutanam
Dharmasya Cha Parayanam
Dharmasya Cha Parayanam
Viṣṇu Dvija Kriya Mulo
Viṣṇu Dvija Kriya Mulo
Yajña Dharma Maya Puman
Yajña Dharma Maya Puman
Devarshi Pitri Bhutanam
Devarshi Pitri Bhutanam
Dharmasya Cha Parayanam
Dharmasya Cha Parayanam
Viṣṇu Dvija Kriya Mulo
Viṣṇu Dvija Kriya Mulo
Yajña Dharma Maya Puman
Yajña Dharma Maya Puman
Devarshi Pitri Bhutanam
Devarshi Pitri Bhutanam
Dharmasya Cha Parayanam
Dharmasya Cha Parayanam
Viṣṇu Dvija Kriya Mulo
Viṣṇu Dvija Kriya Mulo
Yajña Dharma Maya Puman
Yajña Dharma Maya Puman
Devarshi Pitri Bhutanam
Devarshi Pitri Bhutanam
Dharmasya Cha Parayanam
Dharmasya Cha Parayanam
Viṣṇu Dvija Kriya Mulo
Viṣṇu Dvija Kriya Mulo
Yajña Dharma Maya Puman
Yajña Dharma Maya Puman
Devarshi Pitriputanam Dharmasya cha parayanam
Viṣṇurduja kriya mulo yajño dharma maya puman devarshi pitrabhutanam dharmasya cha parayanam.
Word for word. Viṣṇu, Lord Viṣṇu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dvija, of the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. Kriya Mulaha, whose root is the performance of yajña and the ritualistic ceremonies mentioned in the Vedas. Yajña, personified yajña. Lord Viṣṇu, who is known as Yajña Purusha. Dharmamaya, full of religious principles. Puman, the Supreme Person. Deva Rishi, of the demigods and great rishis. Like Vyasadeva and Narada. Pitri, of the forefathers. Bhutanam, and of all other living entities. Dharmasya, of the religious principles. Cha, also. Parayanam, the shelter. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The basic principle of Brahminical culture is to satisfy Lord Viṣṇu, the personification of sacrificial and ritualistic ceremonies. Lord Viṣṇu is the personified reservoir of all religious principles, and he is the shelter of all the demigods, the great rishis, and the people in general. Pitas, what did I say? Excuse me. He is the shelter of all the demigods, the great pitas, and the people in general. When the brāhmaṇas are killed, no one will exist to encourage the Kshatriyas to perform yajñas, and thus the demigods, not being appeased by yajña, will automatically die. That's interesting, because in the Sanskrit it has Deva Rishi. See, it says Deva Rishi, the demigods, great rishis. Then it says Pitris. So you say the demigods, there's no rishis in there in the translation. Dial your English editor of the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, 911, to look that up. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Since Viṣṇu is the central point of Brahminical culture, Hiranyakashipu's plan was to kill Viṣṇu, for if Viṣṇu were killed, naturally the Brahminical culture would also be lost. With Brahminical culture lost, yajña would no longer be performed, and for want of yajña, the regular distribution of rainfall would cease. Yajñat bhavanti parjanya. Thus there would be disturbances all over the world, and naturally the demigods would be defeated. From this verse we get a clear indication of how human society is disturbed when the Vedic Aryan civilization is killed and the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies performed by the Brahmanas are stopped. Kalo Sudra Sambhavaha. Because the population of the modern world consists mostly of Sudras, the Brahminical culture is now lost and it is extremely difficult to reestablish in a proper way. Therefore, Lord Caitanya has recommended the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, which will revive Brahminical culture very easily. Harinama, Harinama, Harinamiva Kevalam, Kalo Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva Gatiranyata. Because of the increment in demoniac population, people have lost Brahminical culture. Nor is there a Kshatriya government. Instead, the government is a democracy in which any Sudra can be voted into taking up the government reins and capture the power to rule. Because of the poisonous effects of Kali Yuga, the Shastras, 12th canto, 2nd chapter, 13th verse says, Dashu Prayeshu Rajashu. The government will adopt the policies of Dashus or plunderers. Thus there will be no instructions from the Brahmanas, and even if there are Brahminical instructions, there will be no Kshatriya rulers who can follow them. Aside from such a yuga, even formerly in the days when demons were flourishing, Hiranyakashipu planned to destroy the Brahminical culture and the Kshatriya government and thus create chaos all over the world. Although in such a yuga this plan was very difficult to execute, in Kali Yuga, which is full of śūdras and demons, the Brahminical culture is lost and can be revived only by the chanting of the Maha Mantra. Therefore, the Krishna conscious movement of the Hare Krishna movement has been inaugurated to revive Brahminical culture very easily so that people may become happy and peaceful in this life and prepare for elevation in the next. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya quotes this verse from the Brahmanda Purana, Viprayagyari moolam tu harir ityashura matam harireva hi sarvasya moolam sanyan mato nripa. O king, the demons think that Hari, Lord Viṣṇu, exists because of the Brahmanas and yajña, but factually Hari is the cause of everything, including the Brahmanas and yajña. Therefore, through the popularizing of Hari Kirtan or the Sankirtan movement, the Brahminical culture and Kshatriya government will automatically come back and people will be extremely happy. Not just happy, but extremely happy. Om Agyan. You can keep that open if you need more air. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshudan Taismai Sri Gurave Namaha Shri Caitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Shvapadandikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchikapatarupaścha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Bhavani Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. So by your good wishes and prayers, I'll try to say a few things. So asuras, what's that? Mogasa, Moga Karmana, Moga Jnana Vichetasaha, Rakshasham Asuram Chaiva Prakriti Mohinam Srita. So Hiranyakashipu he's bewildered. He's got a bewilderment problem. And Mogasa, Moga Karmana, and such personalities in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that everything, Mogasa, Moga, their hopes, their for liberation, their karma, everything is just fails. It all fails. Moga Jnana, their knowledge, their activities, aspirations, whatever. Rakshashim Ashuram Chaiva, they're Rakshashas, and they're taking shelter of illusion and so on. So everyone's got a plan. The pious person has a plan, the impious person has a plan. And so he's revealing his plan here. He's very upset. He even said Lord Viṣṇu is in Maya, the previous verse, right? He said Lord Viṣṇu is in Maya. He gave up his impartiality because that's how the whole conversation started, the question from Maharaj Yudhisthira about impartiality. It seems that Lord Viṣṇu is not impartial. He took the side of the demigods and so on. So Hiranyakashipu is following that same, he just can't understand. God's supposed to love everyone equally, so why is he always taking the side of the demigods and this boar incarnation, and he killed my own brother. He killed my brother. Like that. So what kind of God is this? He's supposed to be impartial to everyone. So, of course, they wouldn't mind if he took their side, right? So he's just utilizing his idea because he's upset, very upset. So he's saying here that he's got a plan, and their observation is that there's this relationship between Lord Viṣṇu and the Brahmins in Brahminical culture, and of course Brahminical culture they advise the Kshatriyas, and the Kshatriyas implement those instructions and create a very peaceful society dedicated to the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But let's disrupt the whole thing. And he's saying, well, I'm out trying to find Lord Viṣṇu and kill him. I want all of you to go kill all the Brahmins. Anyone engaged in, it says, destroy all the people thus engaged in austerity, sacrifice, Vedic study, regular vows, and charity. Hard-pressed to find people like that in Kali Yuga, though, right? But and his idea was if all of these personalities are killed, then Lord Viṣṇu, I think, I don't know where in the Bhagavatam, I have to think real quick. But the idea is that if you kill, Lord Viṣṇu is the root of everything. So if you kill the root, everything else dies, or vice versa. So Lord Viṣṇu can only exist, he's saying, because the Brahmins are here performing yajñas and ritualistic performances, and human society is peaceful because the Brahmins, they give good advice. So if they're gone, everything falls apart, and it's all mine. Like that. It's all mine. That's his idea. He understands how the universe is going on. See, there's a difference between Hiranyakashipu and the modern demons. You got to give him credit. On one hand, he understands the workings of the universe, that the Devatas are there and Viṣṇu's there, and there's a whole scheme put together, but he wants to destroy that. He wants to turn it all around, and he wants to be in charge. Like that. And he came pretty close, actually. The demigods were his servants, and he came pretty close. So there's only a few personalities like Lord Brahma, Narada Muni, and so on, but everyone... Yes, but he was faking it. He wasn't really scared of him. He was transcendental. He was like, okay, just like that. He's got some carte blanche when it comes to all these kind of things. But the universal order, it seemed that he had control of everything. He didn't, but he thought he did. In the modern day, Prabhupada's saying, Kalo Sudra Sambhava. In other words, here was a previous attempt to destroy Vedic culture and worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in Kali Yuga, because the population is so fallen, our Brahminical culture is now lost. It's gone anyways, pretty much it's gone. Where are the Brahmins and those performing ritualistic or spiritual activities? Where are they to be found? Yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And they take a break on Tuesday. Okay? So, like that. You could distract me. I had a good line going there. You distracted me. Be merciful to me. My memory is fading. I'm an antique. What am I? An antique or retro vintage or something? So I'm getting near ancient. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful. So Vedic culture. How can this is Prabhupada's preaching and his understanding and the understanding of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the purpose of Lord Chaitanya's incarnation. Kali Yuga, it's not going to be reestablished. It's a dream. That's one difficulty. I'd be very careful not to think that some or other it will be, such a yuga again or something. It won't be. It's Kali Yuga. But in the midst of this Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement can create a situation where, because of the chanting of the holy names and people chanting Hare Krishna and purifying their heart, the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very strongly felt. And that was the whole point, is where is the presence of the Lord strongly felt? In previous ages, because of the Brahminical culture and the Kshatriyas following, everywhere you were reminded of the Supreme Lord. Big temples and yajñas and Brahmins and people just following, and the Kshatriyas setting the rules, and people were very satisfied and happy. Why is that? It's because this is the natural order of things. When things are in their natural order, people are satisfied. People are very, very happy. When you do something unnaturally, things get all messed up. Just like the word disease, it's actually made of two, dis-ease. It means something's wrong. You ate the wrong kind of food, or does anyone ever overeat here at the temple? No, okay. So you overeat, or you eat the wrong kind of food, or something, and you get diseased. It means the body's out of balance. The body can actually live quite healthy and quite happily for quite some time. I was recently seeing something on the blue zones in the world. You ever hear of the blue zones? Yeah, there's concentrations of people. What do they call them? Centenarians. You know, there's like Okinawa is one of them. And there's a Santoria island. A lot of them are islands. You know, and it's just their lifestyle, natural lifestyle, and so many different things about just living properly, and they just keep living. You know, there's certain things that just destroy a person's health. And they give different graphs compared to America and different, you know, first world nations, and then these different, and it's staggering the difference because people are diseased, they're out of ease, psychologically and physically. So there's a natural order of things. People talk about the environment and ecology and all these different things. So the Vedic understanding is most complete because we have understand the background is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and when Krishna is pleased, everything goes on very, very nicely, like that. And when Krishna is displeased, that means everything's out of order. And it's not just a philosophical or theological idea, it's actually a practical idea of nature. I was listening to a lecture recently, and Prabhupada was talking about cow protection and economy, and he said these foolish people in Kali Yuga, they'd understand that cow protection is an essential element of economic development. He said they have it all backwards. They think cow killing will bring about prosperity. And he talked about India. How in India they think like that. India is the largest producer of leather in the world. And a big, what it is, a lot of, I guess, trade with Russia for many, many decades. The leather and the meat and all that. So it's, how can there be any prosperity or good fortune? You have it all backwards. It should be cow protection, not cow slaughter. They have it all backwards. And they wonder why there's so many wars and difficulties and shortages of food and so on. And moga sa moga karmana. The demons have it all wrong. They got this plan, and it's completely against the reality. This word Aryan is used somewhere. Yes, in the purport. It reminds me of our friend Adolf, right? The swastika, swastika, auspicious sign. It represents the perfect order of the universe. He took and he turned it, and they called themselves Aryans, the superior race, and he messed everything up. Another example, it would have been wonderful if he read the Vedas and said, oh, this is the perfect plan for peace in my country, and establish a Brahminical culture and worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But no, he messed it up. So, and all kinds of problems are there. Now, in this age of Kali, where will you find Brahminical culture? Where will you find a Kshatriya government? Hard-pressed, but that doesn't mean that people cannot be helped and delivered, and that's the Sankirtan movement, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Because this age of Kali is filled with so many, Prabhupada calls it poisonous effects of the age of Kali. You know, people get poisoned by everything. And if you like, I can go on here and reference the verse. Prabhupada is talking about the different symptoms of the age of Kali, what we're up against. And here's the verse that's referred to in the purport, 12th canto, 2nd chapter, 13th verse, translation. By the time Kali Yuga ends, the bodies of all creatures will be greatly reduced in size, and the religious principles of followers of Varnashram will be ruined. The path of the Vedas will be completely forgotten in human society, and so-called religion will be mostly atheistic. They have atheistic religions now already. There's no God there. It's just...
Yeah, there's atheist churches.
They saw how wonderful the fellowship was, so they wanted that. They wanted God.
Right.
They wanted the church.
Right? So, let's see here. The kings will mostly be thieves. That's what Prabhupada was referring to. Thieves, Prabhupada says, plunderers. Plunderers, and Prabhupada in different purports, this dashu, plunderers. Prabhupada says, an ordinary thief comes up to you, is a pickpocket. Take some money, maybe steal your watch off of you or something like that. Just like there's a street in Barcelona. You know that street in Barcelona? You been to Spain? You were going to go to Spain. Have you been there before? Barcelona. Have you been to Barcelona, Spain? Okay, there's one street there. It's the pickpocketing capital of the world. And the reason it is, in Spain they have a law that they can't arrest anyone under like 15. So all these kids, they get caught and the police have to let them go. But it's famous. If you ever visit Barcelona or Spain, they'll tell you in all your tourist information, don't put anything in your pockets or this or that. Now, wherever you put, they're going to get it. There's this one boulevard that's very popular with tourists, but it's the pickpocketing capital of the world. So a pickpocket comes and takes some pesetas or pesos or whatever, your watch or whatever. But plundering means takes everything. The government takes everything. Like that, through taxation and so many different things. They'll take everything. They take everything. Plunderer means they take everything. That's Kali Yuga. So, the kings will mostly be thieves. The occupations of men, this is their occupation, right? You say, hey, what do you do for a living? This is their occupations of men will be stealing, lying, and needless violence. What do you do for work? What category are you in? Stealing, lying, or needless violence? And all the social classes will be reduced to the lowest level of śūdras. Cows will be like goats. Spiritual hermitages will be no different from mundane houses, and family ties will extend no further than the immediate bonds of marriage. Used to be big, big families and so on. Now it's just barely husband and wife and a few kids. Most plants and herbs will be tiny, and all trees will appear like dwarf shami trees. Do you know what a shami tree is? Do they still have those? Must be a small tree, right? Must be like bonsai trees. Clouds will be full of lightning, but no rain. Homes will be devoid of piety, and all human beings will have become like asses. At that time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead will appear on earth, acting with the power of pure spiritual goodness. He will rescue eternal religion. It's Kalki. That. So Prabhupada refers to that here. So it's a difficult time now. It's going to be more and more difficult as time goes on. So what to do? The Krishna conscious movement is the saving grace. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in the age of Kali to reverse all of this, to give people an opportunity to reverse things. Will we stop? Can we stop the tide of Kali Yuga? The Kali Yuga just goes away? No. But within the Kali Yuga, whoever takes shelter of the chanting of Krishna's names and the Krishna consciousness movement, or the chanting of Hare Krishna, will be protected. Will be protected. And when there's great gatherings of such people, their organization and so on, however much that extends, this is a simple formula for reviving Brahminical culture. Brahminical culture simply means haritosanam. Samsiddhir haritosanam, trying to please Krishna. Outside of that, what's everyone thinking? Please themselves. What's that? Bhukti, mukti, siddhi, kami, sakaleya santa. Right? 3 levels, bhukti, mukti, siddhi. Bhukti means enjoying in this world. That's about 99% of the population, because we're in the bodily concept of life. So how can I enjoy in this world? And bhukti mukti means few people become so frustrated they want something beyond this material world. There must be something spiritual, and that's where real happiness is. Bhukti mukti siddhi. Siddhi means your yogic perfections, like that. So I was at a puja last night, and the gentleman was telling me that I think he saw a video. I don't think he was there personally, but maybe he was there personally. But he saw some Brahmins, they're all in a circle for a fire yajña, and by mantra they lit the fire. I said, I heard of Arani wood in previous ages. I said, I don't know, have you heard of such yogis being, I mean, maybe they can do. A real yogi has mystic powers, they can light the fire like that. And I was telling, different stories about yogis doing different things. But we both agreed on the point that even Yogananda, Paramahamsa Yogananda in his book says, what's the use of all these tricks? They don't really help you become self-realized. It's just an amusement. It's amazing that you can do it. And I told him the story about the young man who grew up in a village, and then he went off to join the yogis in the Himalayas. And he came back many years later, and he had attained different yogic cities. And so all the villagers were very enamored by this, and they wanted to see what he had learned. And so he walked across the river. And then he walked back. There's an old man, when he came back, an old man in the crowd said, that's nothing. He said, what do you mean that's nothing? He said, that's a 5 pice trick. He said, what do you mean? He said, for 5 pice I can get a ferry across the river. What's the point? You spend all that time to learn a 5 pice trick. Because for 5 pice, the ferry can carry me across the river. I get across anyway, so what's the point? But anyway, city's there. So everyone wants something, but therefore asanta, they're not peaceful. Always want something. Always want something. But the devotee, Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Atayeva Santa. But the devotee is Nishkam, he's completely satisfied. He doesn't want anything. Just like when you eat at the after how many courses do you need before you're fully satiated? Depends on what it is, right? Okay, but at a certain point, satiation, what does satiation means? I've had enough. He's had enough. It doesn't matter. So, oh, Prabhu, how about some more? Oh, thank you. But I've had quite enough. It's very, it's like I've already had 15 pieces of pizza. You made me offer the 16th pizza to me, but I'm nishkam. I am without desire for pizza, right? I'm completely satisfied. Completely satisfied. I just don't want any. So Krishna is the source of all happiness and satisfaction. And when we have Krishna, when we're experiencing that, then Nishkam, Krishna. And then it can only be in devotional service, because everything else, I'm the center. Think about it. Everything else, I'm the center. And even religion, we're talking about religion earlier, they have religion for atheists and so on. But most religion is God, gimme. Like that. Dehi. I want this, I want that. So how can you be happy? Because you're always in want. You're always in want. But a devotee doesn't want anything. That's a symptom of a devotee. They are self-satisfied. They just don't want anything. What they want. They want nothing of this world, but they want more service. That's all they want. Just an opportunity to serve. That's all they want. That's all they want. So that's the key. And that is Brahminical culture. And if people are taught that, then the world's quite different. But now the fever has gone up so much. Everyone wants so many things, right? And they simply, that's a capitalistic society. Our economy is based upon more and more things. Yeah, it has got to be the iPhone. What number is it now? 16, right? So it's got in the next one, and they got to make it a little different. It's no longer a phone. Phone to call someone is like that's the bottom of the list of what people use it for, right? It's a camera, and it's this, it's that, it's texting and internet. It's like a little computer and like that. So, but they just got to fill people's minds with all. I need this, I need that, I need this, and I need that. All these different things, more. And what happens is no one's happy. No one's happy because it's not the key to happiness. So this is the significance of this verse. Hiranyakashipu, he is a wonderful example because he's the best one in the crowd as far as someone who tried to be happy without Krishna. He gave it his all, right? He's the best example. If you want to know how to try to be happy in the material world without Krishna, try to do what he did. He did it better than anyone else. In the material world, people, try to be in charge of something. Maybe start their own business, right? Start their own business. Or else they have this, multinational business or become a president of a country like that. And of course, in modern day, don't believe in it, but people can rule a whole planet. And there's someone running a whole universe. That's Lord Brahma. He's got a lot, Brahma, that's a lot. You want a whole universe to take care of?
And he needs the extra heads for the extra headaches.
Yeah. And in ours, he only has 4 headaches. In other universities, he has millions of headaches. You know how much Excedrin he goes through? So that's just a joke. I'm sorry about that. He may not need Excedrin because his body's not like our body. But, and it's a seva. It's a seva. He's taking care of the universe. But still, he's thinking a whole universe like that. I mean, how much do we need? And that's the previous canto. Vamanadev's famous line was, Bali Maharaj, I just want 3 steps of land, because if you can't be satisfied with the 3 steps of land or the bare minimum, you'll never be happy with anything, because nothing will ever be enough. Nothing's ever enough. Dushparena analena cha. What does that mean? Bhagavad Gita. Dushparena analena cha. Burns like fire and is never satisfied. That's material desire. Like that. And if you don't believe it, material nature will show you it's true. Okay? Because it's a law you can't get around. No one has, is, or will ever be able to get around that. And one of the big lessons from this pastime of Hiranyakashipu is he tried better than anyone else. He had so much facility to be happy and enjoy the material world, but it didn't work, But Maya is so strong that we think, let me try it again. The example given is Jarasandha. Sometimes he's used as an example. 17 times, right, he attacked Krishna, Mathura, and 17 times his whole army of Akshohinis was completely devastated. He was left standing there, looking out on this scene of carnage, and none of Krishna's soldiers got hurt. And he thought to himself the first time, this is it, I'm not fighting anymore, I'm just going to renounce things, this is horrible. And on the way back to his kingdom, his friends convinced him, it was just bad luck, time wasn't on your side, let's try it again. So he does it a second time, and the exact thing, how many times? But in other words, Maya is so strong that he tried again and again and again. And then the last time when Krishna left, Ranchorji, he thought he won. So Maya is very, very strong. So the desire to keep trying again and again and again is deeply rooted in the heart. And it's true that it cannot be expunged. Is that the word, from the heart? I'm trying to use some big words because Dravita's in class. By repeated suffering. It helps, but the only way is by getting a param drishtva nivartate, a higher taste. One realizes, yes, none of this will ever make me happy. So that's the chanting of Hare Krishna. That's the only hope. The only hope in the age of Kali is the Sankirtan movement and the spreading of the chanting of Hare Krishna. So there's a few points from this verse. And I guess another thing is Brahminical culture, devotees, Vaishnavas, they're responsible for manifesting worship of Krishna and Viṣṇu in human society. That's our responsibility, because that is the only thing that can really make people happy. In fact, Prabhupada uses the term at the very end of the purport, extremely happy. People can become extremely happy if they're Krishna conscious. So on that happy note, we'll end and open it up for questions and comments.
I'm very much taken with this whole idea of how the demigods, when the Brahminical culture is, wrecked and they're not getting the yajñas, then they create havoc, or they don't, send the rain at the right time and the whole thing, This is what we got. This climate change is just creating havoc. For precisely the reason that people are performing so much sin, they're killing so many animals, and it's also a scientific reason. We were brought up in the previous class, and Maharaj was here, and he was confirming that the biggest cause of the greenhouse gases is a mass slaughter of cows, or raising the cows for slaughter, and then they emit so many greenhouse gases. And this was in reference to the Amazon forest,
yes,
being destroyed.
Yep.
You know. So, you know, we can see it manifesting. The Bhagavatam is manifesting all around us. The climate change, the incredible weather dangers and everything.
Yeah, they bring up that point with Al Gore had that movie. He won an award for Inconvenient Truth, but he never brought up the inconvenient truth that the major cause of all these problems is the beef industry. He has a ranch, and he also has beachfront property. In his movie, he said that, you know, by now, the water would have risen. But some or other, he invested in beachfront property, and he also has a ranch or so. As far as following through on his own, you know, pontificating, is that the word, about, you know, climate change and this and that.
And things like Greenpeace and other organizations, they don't bring this up because they know if they do, they'll lose their donations.
Yes.
You know, so this very important thing they have to downplay.
Yeah, there's one movie out there called Cowspiracy. It brings that up about all these organizations who are supposed to be helping the environment. They won't bring. It's like the elephant in the room. You know, the hasti in the room. Just don't bring it up. You know, it's too sensitive. Question, comment.
Just a comment. I was thinking also another example of this, like Jarasandha, 17 times he kept going and going and going. Another example is in the Ramayana when the battles they're taking place at Lanka. Ravana is sending out all these Rakshasas, and one by one they're getting killed. And it's even described how every time they went out, there was all these bad omens, And it's funny because it's like such a repetitive kind of section. It's almost like kind of humorous in the way it's written, because it's just like it's like very repetitive over and over and over again. You can kind of imagine it. And they would go out, and then whatever their left side would be twitching, and then there would be like the
blood
sky
and stool pouring on them.
Yeah.
I don't know about today for a battle.
Yeah, it'd be like raining blood. It was like really intense, And they'd be like, "Oh no, it's okay," and then they'd go and they get killed. And then just over and over and over again.
Is that pashanapi na pashyati? You see but you don't see. Like that. So, okay.
Quick question. Oh.
Please, go ahead.
Thank you for blending Leela in with the philosophy and the class. Very, very nectarian. One thing comes to my mind when I read the disqualifications of the kings in the Kali Yuga is the pastime in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, I think it was either to Sanatan or to Ramananda Roy, that the mind of the king manifests the will of God. And I was so surprised that he was putting that much faith in the Muslim leader. But I was thinking also, it means that we don't have to despair so much about the political leadership while we're spreading the Sankirtan movement, because the moon of Lord Caitanya is pulling that tide. As long as we take shelter, we're protected. But that whole idea of not despairing too much about the leaders, that after all, the mind of the leader is influenced by the will of God. Can you say something about that?
Okay, it's a good comment. Yes, I mean, he made that point, that whatever Nawab was saying as far as arresting him, this is Sanatan Goswami, he said, okay. And also it was about who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was, right? That's what it was. I think that's what you're referring to, was you heard that there's this mendicant in our kingdom and thousands of people are following and this and that, and I heard he's an avatar and so on and so on, and Rupa or Sanatan were kind of downplaying it because they knew he may cause problems for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he finally said, well, you're the king. The mind of the king, and he said, yeah, I think he's an avatar. And then he gave a decree, not no one to bother him. So he was inspired by Krishna in the heart to believe Chaitanya Mahaprabhu alone. So may our leaders on all levels be inspired by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to make the right decisions. Whenever you hear about devotees giving addresses and assemblies of politicians, that's their prayer. You see in English they talk, and that is the appropriate thing as a clergy or whatever, is that, let us pray that God direct us to make the proper decisions in our administration of the government. That's our prayer. God help us.
What they don't know is that they need to
Yes. Yeah. What is the right decision? Take a book. Here's Vijay over here. He'll give you a book like that.
Thank you. I remembered when we started to discuss that in Bhagavatam there is a place where there is a how to say, maybe shloka, maybe this this Srila Prabhupada purport, and he said that until killing of cows will be continue, not possible in this area to understand this transcendental knowledge.
Yes, wherever there's sinful activities going on, it's impossible. So they have to stop, but they have to get a higher taste. You know, so listening to some morning walks recently in Prabhupada, the devotees are asking this about Kali Yuga. People are so disinclined, and so Prabhupada said, how we can do Prabhupada? And Prabhupada said, just get them to chant and take prasadam, and gradually, their consciousness will change, and they'll give all these things up. He said, you can't force them. You can't say, no more of this, no more of that. You have to, their heart has to become purified, and that's from the chanting and taking prasadam, and they see the folly of their actions and deeds, and they give it up. They get a higher taste. So, importance of pakoras and right, things cooked in ghee, Prabhupada said. Okay, so we can end here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I wish you all a very, very happy Ekadasi. May you embrace your 25 rounds just like your dear, dear friends.
Hari Prabhu.